Hey, good Friday morning, everybody. It's meteorologist Brad Panovich. We've got to talk about our Frankenstorm. Well, it's the storm that's in the Gulf of Mexico. I nicknamed it Frankenstorm just because, just like Frankenstein's monster, this was formed by taking a whole bunch of different parts and putting them together. It's not that this is going to be a really severe storm or anything like that. It just means that it's made up of all these different parts, and it's not a true tropical system, and it's not really a true low pressure system. It's kind of a mix of everything. So we call it a Frankenstorm. So let me show you what it looks like here. It's starting to get its act together, but the first thing you notice, this does not look like a tropical storm or hurricane. That's why we're calling it a Frankenstorm, because all of the precipitation is here, the circulation is here. It's very lopsided. It looks like a comma. Anytime you see a storm system that looks like a comma head, that's more typical of a mid-latitude cyclone. And I got a lot of questions of people about cyclones. Remember, cyclones are any area of low pressure in the atmosphere. That means hurricanes, nor'easters, low pressure systems, even tornadoes that have a mesocyclone in them. So that all refers to that. So this is a cyclone. It's just a matter of whether it's tropical or extratropical, and I would argue it's a little bit of both. Let me show you the water vapor loop, because the water vapor loop kind of shows you these parts, the Frankenstorm part of this. First things first, there's an upper low right here, and you'll see it spinning. The surface low is here. You see the clouds being spread out here. We've also got high pressure to the north, which is supplying cool air. So there's a stalled front in here. You've just got a lot of things coming together that are making this not a very typical tropical system. So even if it gets a name, I think it's going to be a subtropical storm, honestly. If it gets a name at all, it would be Nestor. And that would be briefly, if it ever gets that name at all, because it's running out of time, essentially, for it to strengthen. But there are thunderstorms exploding here. The reason it's intensifying isn't because of the warm water. Well, it's partially that. It's really the dynamics in the atmosphere. This upper low, the diffluent flow aloft. And what I mean by that is the jet stream is coming in from the west here. This jet stream is coming in like this, and the air is spreading out in this direction. So when you do that, the air right here is forced to lift up vertically. That lifting mechanism is causing this storm to intensify, and you throw in some latent heat from that warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. So let me show you the track. This was the latest track. A new one will be out here probably by the time I do this. I don't expect a lot of change. And the track really is not that important, because it's going to go where it's going to go. It's all about timing of the rain. So you can see it maybe becoming a tropical storm or hurricane, or a tropical storm or subtropical storm will not become a hurricane. Hurricane hunters are out there right now checking it out to see if it's going to classify as that. It's going to race off. So by Saturday night, it's over here. Into Sunday morning, it's all the way offshore. So this is really a Saturday night into Sunday morning time frame of how this is going to move. So let's go right to the future cast here. And I'm going to yell out times as I'm doing this. We'll go through the overnight hours tonight, and I'm going to stop this at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. So I'm going out in the future here. Whoops, I'm going to zoom in. So here we are. This is about 2 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. I'm going to stop this at 8 a.m. Okay, this is 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Okay, so first things first, the center is down here, but there's a big shield of rain to the north. Could make it as far north as Colombia. But here's the thing. I think this leading edge right here is going to have a tough time reaching the surface. I think you're going to have to be in this band before it actually starts to reach the ground. The reason why is that aforementioned high pressure, which is right here, is really dry. It's providing cold, dry air from the northeast. So the initial rainfall has to fall into a very dry air mass, which means it's going to get eaten up. It's going to evaporate before reaching the ground. So it's going to take time for that moisture to reach down to the ground. So I expect the leading edge of this, even though this is the model is showing this here, I'm going to show you why it's probably not going to be reaching the ground until much later. So this is 8 o'clock in the morning. So again, just in the back of your mind, remember, the leading edge is probably not going to reach the ground. You're going to have to be well into the rain before it starts to reach the ground. So this is 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11, 12 p.m. tomorrow, so noontime. You could see that Colombia for the USC game, I think it's going to be wet. Pack the rain gear. But the leading edge of the rain is right here. And again, a lot of this is going to have a tough time reaching the ground until, I think, after 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So let's go. This is 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So this is about the time I think the rain's going to be reaching the ground. I think in that 4, 5, 6 o'clock time frame, because I really think this leading edge is going to have a tough time reaching the ground. Once you get into this and this is where the heavy rain moves in. And again, this is about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So the later you get into your Saturday, the heavier the rainfall is going to be. Now, why am I confident that this is not going to reach the ground? Well, I'm going to show you something kind of cool. This is an upper air sounding over Charlotte. And again, this is at about 11 a.m. tomorrow. Atmosphere is very dry here. So I'm going to go through time. We'll go to noon, 1, 2. This is 2 o'clock. You see the atmosphere is very dry. These lines are separated. There's no rainfall reaching the surface from the NAM model. We'll go to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, this is 6 o'clock. Notice how the lines came together. That means the atmosphere has become saturated. And notice that R and that green dot. That means rain can reach the surface. So the guidance I just showed you, the Futurecast radar, is a little deceiving because it's showing you basically what the radar could look like, but not necessarily what's reaching the ground. This happens a lot when people look at models in winter storms. You got to look at all parameters of the model, just not the pretty Futurecast radar or snowfall totals. You got to look at what's going on above our heads. And clearly tomorrow, the first couple of hours of this precipitation is not going to be reaching the ground. It's going to be really tough for this to make it to the ground tomorrow morning. So it's going to take a while for this to reach the ground. So I really think that 4, 5, 6 o'clock time frame for the Charlotte area. So when you see the Futurecast radar, it looks a lot more ominous. It's probably going to be delayed. And again, this is just one piece of guidance too. I think it's a little quick, especially considering on where the system is now. You see where the rainfall is. It's just barely getting to the Gulf Coast. So even the model is a way ahead of where the actual rain is this afternoon. So I'm going to show you a couple other products that'll kind of show you the timing of this. Again, this is a look at rainfall heading our way. This is today. I'm going to stop this at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. So 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, this is Charlotte right here. Here's Columbia. Notice the leading edge of the rain is not to Columbia yet. I'm going to stop this at 2 p.m. Saturday. So 2 p.m. Saturday, light rain has made it to Columbia, but it's not in Charlotte yet. So we're 2 p.m. and the rain is actually not accumulating. So this is a really good indication. One thing in the model to look at is not Futurecast radar. Look at Futurecast rainfall accumulating on the ground. This shows actually that rain that we showed you in the model is not reaching the ground yet until about 8 p.m. So this is, I know it jumps. It goes from, it's a 6-hour jump. So this is 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. we start to see the rain move in, and it's just moving into Raleigh. So this is how as you go later into the evening, look at the rain. This is 2 a.m. Sunday morning. This is 8 a.m. Sunday morning. And this is 2 p.m. Sunday morning. So you can see the bulk of this rain is going to fall overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. And again, the heaviest will be along the coast, but you see back towards the Charlotte area, maybe an inch, inch and a half. So it would be a good soaker. And again, if you had to pick a time frame for me, the worst time frame is going to be 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday. Let me repeat that. 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday. That's the worst of this. Now, what about winds? There's not much wind in this, folks. This is not a big windstorm. Even on the coast, I think, while it will be windier and gustier there, these are the max wind gusts. It just does not look all that impressive. I'll show you the overall wind gust associated with this. The strongest winds are going to be on the Gulf Coast and then offshore. Notice the wind gusts inland, 20, 25, maybe 35 miles per hour. So you're not looking at a huge amount of wind. So again, real quickly, just to show you the progress of this, the bulk of this rain, Columbia, probably going to get there around noon to 1. Charlotte, you're probably looking at 3, 4, 5 o'clock, but really 6 o'clock and after. Then after 6 o'clock, it's soaking wet for everybody. So Saturday night to Sunday morning is not pretty, but Sunday afternoon looks okay. And Saturday morning looks okay. So there's kind of the in-between hours we're going to see the worst of it. And just to show you the rainfall forecast for Saturday, this is for the Charlotte area. Notice it's dry in the morning, not bad in the afternoon. It's really around that 4, 5, 6 o'clock time frame, again, where I see this starting to bulk up. So hopefully it helps you plan. Again, 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday is the peak of this storm. It's not going to be a big rain or a big wind maker. It's not going to be a severe weather event. It's going to be a cold, miserable rain Saturday night into Sunday morning.